Hey guys, this is JackoBuddy with BreakBlock.org coming with you with part 8 of the Game Maker tutorial series we've been doing here, working on our game Maze Man. If you're just now tuning in, make sure you go back and start from part 1 so that you can follow along from the beginning of the series. If you're just joining us, if you're joining us and you've already begun a project with us, then we're going to continue off from where we left off last time. Now, at the end of the last part, I asked you to go ahead and create 3 levels for this part so we can get a map rotation going on our game. And remember that each one of those 3 rooms will need a level control. And another thing I didn't really mention last time that you're going to want to make sure you did is, like, for example, if I open up my room 2 that I'm in here, my level 2, and I told you we had to make a level 2 control object right there. Well, whenever I put that into the room, I had to make sure that this variable right here that we had set, the move limit, I changed that variable to the number of moves I want for this level. Because if you don't change that, then it's going to keep using your level 1 value. Let's see. Level 1. And I'm pretty sure that one is a smaller number. Yeah, 25. So you won't even have enough moves to get through that level if it's as long as mine is. So you'll just want to make sure you set that variable properly for each of your 3 rooms so that you can get all the way through your game correctly. Now, what we're going to go ahead and do now, like I said, in this part we're going to set up our map rotation so that we can play all of our levels, and then whenever you hit the end of the game, it's going to loop back to the beginning again. And then once we do that, the only things really left in this tutorial series is we're going to be creating a main menu, and then I may show you a few cool tricks that you can use to add some more features to your game and all before you show it to your friends and all that. But we're getting really close to the end here, so we're going to go ahead and continue on. For the meantime, something that we're going to do first is, for those of you who tried testing it, if you move, say, like your level 2 to the top, and you run your game, it's going to go ahead and launch it. But if you added the level 2 control and took out the level 1 control like you were supposed to, then when you hit this button, or any button, you're going to get an error like that. And the reason that is because our player object is told to look for the level 1 control object, which is not in this room because we made it into a level 2 control. We changed the name. So what we have to do now is we got to set GameMaker up to where no matter what level control we have in that room, it can find that value. So what we're going to use is what's called a parent-child relationship, which I'm not going to get super detailed into it, but basically whatever the parent has, the child inherits in programming. And so I'm going to go and show you how that works using this example. We need to go ahead and create a new object. And for the object name, I'm going to do obj underscore control parent, like so. And we're going to go ahead and just hit OK on that. We don't need to do any coding in the control parent. And then what we need to do is we need to go to our level 1 control. And you're going to come to right here where it shows parent. And you're going to click the little contextual menu button. And you're going to go down and you're going to select the object we just made, control parent. And you need to set that for all 3 of your level control, or however many you have, because you may have 4 or 5 or 10 levels. So for every one of your level controls, you need to go ahead and set your parent to object control parent. And then one thing that's nice is if you go and make more levels later and you start duplicating the level controls, they will carry that parent setting over to the duplicated objects. Like if I want to make a level 4 and duplicate, see, it's going to have that parent. So you won't have to worry about forgetting to set that again later if you keep duplicating it. Just make sure you adjust your variables properly for each room. Go ahead and delete that since we don't need it. Okay, so now all of these are set to have those parents. But there's still going to be a problem that if we run, you're going to see, let's compile, and we're still getting our error. And so the reason we are still getting the error is because while all of these objects are sharing that parent, our player is still looking at the child instead of the parent object, which if you call the parent object by name, if that object isn't in the room itself, it looks for the child's of those. So level 1 control is also called control parent, basically, in this instance. So, for example, in another game instance, I could make 6 different types of enemies, but if all enemies have the same basic variables and setup, I can make an enemy parent object, and every single enemy is also an enemy parent object, if that makes sense. So what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to go to our object player, and we're going to go to one of our key presses. We can do like press left right here. And then we have our if statement right here, where you see we have object level 1 control dot move limit. We're going to go ahead and change level 1 control. We're going to take that out, and we're going to do control parent. Okay. And hit control, or hit enter. Okay. And we're going to run it just to test it real quick. Now, as you can see, when I hit left now, it is working correctly, and it's going to go all the way up and use the proper variable. Instead of using like the 25 from the first level, it's going to go all the way up to 143, and then restart the level, because the level 2 control is now being referred to as control parent, which is its other name, and then the player is looking for that. So no matter how many levels we make now, with however many control objects we need that have different amounts of moves and different whatever you want to put, now you can put different music tracks in there when you start playing with sound, all this different stuff, but all of them can be called from the player instead of having to check, okay, if I'm in level 1, check level 1, if I'm in level 2, check level 2. We just saved hours of work right there on a long-term game. So we need to go ahead and change it in the other 3 keystrokes. So you can go ahead and do that on yours. I'm going to do it on mine real quick. So we're going to do it in the up key, set it to control parent, on the right key, object underscore control parent, and on the down key, same spot. Alright, and now if I run it with level 2 at the front, I should be able to get through my level 2, advance to level 3, and level 3 should work as well. So I'm going to move, and you can see all my keystrokes are now working, everything looks good. Moves allowed is showing 43 at the top, which is perfect. Let's see. I made this level nice and complicated. And hit my end. You win. There's my score. There's my moves. Perfect. Alright, and then same thing, just for example, I'm not going to do the whole thing, but I can open my level 3 as well. And all of this should be working. And there you go. So level 3 is also working. And you can see the moves allowed and all this actually updated automatically because we actually did the drawing from these controls. But if you're doing the draw from another object, like if we made a control just to control the GUI, then in that instance, you're going to need to change, just like we did in the player, change them all to that parent. But luckily, we're doing the drawing from our controls, so that's not even going to cause a problem. Everything is updating perfectly. Now what we need to do is progress from one level to the next on our game. I'll put everything kind of back in order. And we're going to go to our object player. This is nice and easy. And what we're going to do is we're going to say collision with object exit. So it's showing all of our little boxes here, the score and the moves. So we need to go ahead and delete our end game action. And then in place of that, we're going to go to main 1 tab over here. And this little box right here, it's got like the little arrow pointing to the right. That's the next room. So we're going to go ahead and just put that. And what next room does is when it hits that, and after those messages play, it's just going to move to whatever room is next in order down here at the bottom. So if I hit it in room 1, it's going to jump to room 2. If I hit it in room 2, it's going to jump to room 3. Room 3 is going to jump to room 1. And so that's going to be good, except there's one major issue we're going to have with that. And that is that what happens when I am in level 3 and I hit my exit and there's no levels after it. Well, what's going to happen is Game Maker is going to throw you a big mean error message and say, hey, there's no more rooms and you told me to go to the next room. And so your game is going to crash and people are going to be very upset at you and you're going to get a 10 out of 10 on every review site just because of that. So what we're going to do is go ahead and fix that issue now. Go back to our main 1 tab. And you have this guy right here. It looks the same as the next room, but it's check next. So right click it. And we're going to move it in front of this guy right here. And if next room exists, Then we're going to go ahead and make a little code block just to organize our codes, a good habit to get into. If next room exists, you go to next room. Well, what about if we hit the end? What's it going to do? Just sit at the end forever? No. So we're going to do else, open brackets, so we'll go ahead and have a new block. And remember, else is if this fails, it'll do what's in here instead. So else is your last case scenario. So if there's no more rooms, else is going to occur. And then what we're going to do is use this guy right here, different room, on our main 1 tab. Drag it in. And new room, I'm going to set it to level 1 for now until next tutorial whenever we make our main menu. And it's going to go to room level 1. So what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to go ahead and do a little test run of this. Let it run. I'm just going to make sure everything's looking nice and smooth, and we're going to begin to see a video game being created here. I'm going to go ahead and move this as quick as possible, but lots of progression to this. Like I said, in the next part, we're going to get our main menu set up, and then there may be another part or two after that, some other things you can do with this game, but we're getting real close to the end of this series. And yeah, from there, it'll be kind of yours to play with your little game design, show off to whoever you want, and it's a great project to start learning Game Maker. You'll know all the basics by the time you're done with Game Maker. I mean, by the time you're done with this tutorial series. Okay, I'm on level 3, so let's get to the end of level 3, and we're going to make sure that it's all looping now. But you notice how it's jumping automatically, room to room now. So, moving. Okay, almost to our end here. Alright, you win, score, moves, and notice we're back at level 1. So now our game is going to loop indefinitely until you exit. You can rack up your points. Now the points don't carry over from room to room, and there's ways to do that. We're not going to do that in this tutorial series. It's actually very, very simple. You would just create a global variable, which you can look up yourself if you want, or else we'll cover that in later tutorial series if you really want to dig into that. But otherwise, I'm just going to kind of leave everything how it is in terms of score. But the next part, we're going to go ahead and make a little main menu and an instruction page and all that so that people know how to play our game. And need some last minute refinement, and then we'll pretty much be getting to the end of the series. So go ahead and play with that, add a few levels if you want, and make some new control objects. Get your game really fleshed out, and then next time be ready to create your menu and start heading towards the wrap up of this tutorial series. Again, if you're enjoying this series or finding it helpful, I encourage you to subscribe and to check out our website at breakblock.org. We talk about a lot of other stuff besides Game Maker. We also do we talk about Bitcoin if you're interested in that whole market. We're going to be doing some Unity 3D tutorials in the upcoming future. A lot of different things like that. We also have some forums, so you can talk about whatever you want on the forums. And you can always drop us an email. My email is always at the bottom of the screen during these tutorials. Shoot me an email. Let me know what you think of the series or what you would like to see in the future. But until next time, go ahead and get this game working, and I'll see you next time as we head towards wrapping up the tutorial series. Happy programming.